everybody, and welcome to this edition of Stream On. I'm Jim Williams, your host, and we're going to take a look at the four-part drama, which is a BritBox original. It's called The Victim. It was shown earlier this year on the BBC. And we're going to be joined by Kelly Macdonald, as well as Paul Sheehan. And Paul, of course, is the Chief Operating Officer of STV Productions, the company that produced The Victim. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, The Victim was shown earlier this year on the BBC, and Kelly Macdonald plays Anna Dean, a married mother in Edinburgh, Scotland. Anna and her husband, Lenny, played by Jamie Shives, have two remaining young children, but Anna's never recovered, emotionally anyway, from the murder of her elder son. Now, when the boy's presumed killer is free, Anna is accused of identifying him online, which leads to the man almost being beaten to death. So is the man actually the killer? And is he or is he not worthy of the actions that Anna set forth? Well, John Hannah plays a police detective looking into the matter. And folks, I got to tell you right now, Victim is a very intense, very entertaining, well acted, well produced, and well-written show. And with us, Paul Sheehan and Kelly Macdonald. Gang, outstanding show. Let's talk a little bit about The Victim.
Sure. Rob Williams, our writer, he went into development for this project with us around 4 years ago, 5 actually. And I think really what he was so influenced by, Rob has a real interest in the sort of criminal justice system, and he has a real interest in punishment and, the effectiveness or otherwise of punishment. And he really wanted to explore that sort of criminal justice system and really the effect on sort of the accused and the victim. And it sort of coincided with the time of the Oscar Pistorius case. Mm-hmm. And, he really was influenced by that in terms of this real high profile, worldwide profile with that trial and how it really polarized people in terms of, not sure, what side to take. And I think that's where the influence sort of came because, with the show, it's sort of extraordinary circumstances. And I think Anna in particular, what she's gone through. And I think, in terms of the genius in my mind of Kelly's performance is in many ways making Anna unsympathetic, because how can you be unsympathetic to that woman, given what's happened to her? But that was really the intention, to have this sort of real polarizing effect and lots of twists and turns. And although it is harrowing and it's intent and impactful, it's still got to be entertaining. And I think that was what they achieved.
I think
it's surprising.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking it's unexpected where the story takes you. You hear sort of the taglines for the show, and you would assume it's going to be that show that you could probably imagine in your mind already, and it doesn't do any of that.
No, you're absolutely right. It does. There's a lot of twists and turns in this. It's not a whodunit because you already feel like you know where that is. But I gotta say that James Harkness, who plays Craig Myers in the show, obviously you play Anna Dean. I mean, there's some scenes between the two of you which are just amazing.
Yeah, intense stuff. I know, and he's so talented, and as soon as the first scenes that we did together were just looks, where we see each other outside the courtroom. And I just knew from that, when we got to the real meaty business of the story, that I was going to be I would have a good sort of sparring partner.
It's interesting, from your standpoint in watching. If the old saying goes, if looks could kill, If looks could kill James Harkness, James Harkness would be dead in about 10 minutes into the show. So it's the interplay between the two of you is just phenomenal. But there's obviously a much deeper and wonderful cast, and it's one of those stories that, as I say, one of the great things about having things that you can binge on. This is a bingeable show, and for the reason that each and every minute of it is interesting and compelling. It's not like you wasted any script here.
No, and I think the fact that it's such an amazing ensemble story, like all the, this action that Anna Dean has taken has it's had a ripple effect on so many other lives, and all their stories are equally sort of fascinating and tragic, and yeah, I think Rob's scripts were just, the writing was just so impeccable.
Originally, we had sort of planned it to be a little bit longer, possibly 5 or 6 episodes. But when we were greenlit by the BBC, we decided 4 was the magic number, and I think it means that it maintains a pace. There isn't any episode that's a filler. There isn't an episode that doesn't drive the sort of the story forward. So I think that pace is maintained throughout, which I think is the beauty of the 4 episodes, although it's been lovely to do something longer as well.
We'll be back with more of Stream On right after this. Gang, let me tell you about my friends over at Mint Mobile. I made the change, and I gotta tell you, I'm glad I did. Let me ask you a question. If you're still using one of those big wireless providers in 2019, what are you paying for? Well, I'll tell you what you're paying for. Between the expensive retail stores, inflated prices, and hidden fees, you're being taken advantage of because you don't know what you're paying for. All right? They do, but you don't. That's why I'm with Mint Mobile, because Mint Mobile provides the same premium network coverage that you're used to at a fraction of the cost because everything's online. Mint Mobile saves on retail locations and overhead and passes those savings directly on to you. Now, you guys know that my phone is my livelihood, okay? I'm not going to come out here and tell you that Mint Mobile works if it doesn't work for me, and it works for me. I can obviously make my phone calls, text to make certain that we got our guests for the show, check my emails, and of course, watch videos, whether I'm going from Philadelphia to New York, from DC to Denver, from Los Angeles to San Francisco, doesn't matter. Mint Mobile has got me covered. I've not had any problems using the service whatsoever. The big thing, folks, it's made me able to cut my wireless bill dramatically. Mint Mobile makes it so simple to cut your wireless bill down to just $15 a month. Every plan comes with unlimited nationwide talk and text. That's right. With Mint Mobile, stop paying for unlimited data that you never use. Choose between plans with 3, 8, or 12 gigabytes of 4G LTE data. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan. Keep your own phone number. Keep your existing contacts. It's very simple. Why? Because what you're doing, folks, is you're ditching that old wireless bill, and you're going to start saving with Mint Mobile. Now, here's what I want you to do. To get one of those new wireless plans for only $15 a month and get the plan shipped directly to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/mylastnamewilliams. That's mintmobile.com/WILLIAMS. That's mintmobile.com/Williams, mintmobile.com/WILLIAMS, mintmobile.com. All the information is in the show box below, folks. Do me a favor and do yourself a favor at the same time. Get the best possible coverage at the lowest possible price. You can do that at Mint Mobile. Do it today. Join me as part of the Mint Mobile family. Time to get back to Kelly Macdonald to talk about The Victim. And I'm going to say something, and I don't mean it it's gonna maybe could come out the wrong way. It's exhausting. Okay.
I said
and-
that about a play. Like,
and-
yeah.
And I mean that when the 4 episodes are over, as someone who watches it, you're just like left almost with your mouth totally open and like, you know, it's one of those types of things that, and again, since no one listening to this has probably seen it, believe me when I tell you, it is exhausting, but exhausting in a good way.
Oh, that's kind.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
So-
I watched it over the weekend again. I hadn't seen it for a good few months, and I came back to it fresh, and because I was watching it sort of, over a few days, by the end of it, I felt, it really affected me as much as it did.
You were a husk of a man.
I was drained, but thank you. That really is kind. A real testament to the level of talent in terms of Rob as a writer and the amazing cast that we had. We felt really, really lucky to have them.
One of the things that I think is so great for both a content producer and the creative side, as well as the wonderful acting, and is that this show, I don't think will have any trouble it will translate from a standpoint to the U.S. I think that, and to any place, it doesn't matter where it is, because good acting is good acting, and good writing is good writing, regardless of where it comes from. And I think that one of the things that we found through BritBox here in the U.S. is that we love good product, and obviously the BBC in the UK have for years put it out. And the fact that we're being able to get to see this in relatively real time makes it very, very entertaining. And it's great I think it's great for the content people involved, actors and writers, to be able to know that, okay, this was a hit here, but, in a short period of time, you find out it's a hit, pretty much anywhere it goes.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, I think the themes are so universal, and I think, it will affect audiences wherever. And, those concepts of sort of failure within the criminal justice system to deliver closure for victims, and particularly family of victims, I think that's very familiar wherever we go. So I hope the American audiences enjoy it. It's much a lot of debate back home. Remember, there was so much social media, and, people sort of felt very, very, very strongly. And it was the reaction, because it was stripped in Britain as well. It was stripped Monday through Thursday.
Right.
That what we found was that it actually consolidated with the 4-screen consolidation figures. I think it set some sort of record to sort of 72%, because so people, I think, were doing that thing of binge watching all at once, and kind of word of mouth and catching up. But it's it's an intense experience. But I mean, I think the other thing just was particularly the level of sort of critical acclaim was fantastic for us, much more so than really anything else that we've done. But what was interesting was both the sort of broadsheet and tabloid engagement. It got everyone talking. So again, we were really pleased with that.
Well, we're going to try to get them talking for you here, and I'll tell you again, just an amazing job by both of you, as well as, of course, the rest of the cast. And we're looking forward to seeing The Victim on BritBox coming in early August. And it's definitely worth watching. As I said before, be ready to get exhausted, because it's that good, and you're just going to want to watch it. You're not going to want, that's the problem, right? Episode 1 gets over, you don't want to wait for episode 2. And so you go right to it. And
that's a great quote. I'm writing it down. I get ready to be exhausted. I love that.
Maybe go on holiday before you watch it.
Maybe you should take it on holiday with you. That way you can just when it's over, you can just relax.
Use a holiday.
Exactly. But you're right. It's a universal theme. It's a controversial theme, in so much as criminal justice, and do people actually get what they quote unquote deserve? And that's a that unfortunately is a universal subject, but you guys tackled it in an outstanding way. Kudos to everyone. And thanks for joining us.
No worries.
Oh, thank you for your kind thoughts.
Hopefully we'll have another opportunity to talk about some other things that you guys are doing down the line.
I hope so. I hope it's the first of many. So, we've been doing a lot of drama over the years, but I feel that, some really exciting projects coming up. So, I would love to work with Kelly again if possible.
Special thanks to our guests from The Victim, which will be on BritBox. All the information in the show box below. And, of course, thanks to Kelly Macdonald and Paul Sheehan for talking to us about The Victim. We'll be back with more of Stream On right after this.
Life is about making decisions. At BMW I, we decided it was time to reinvent the car from the ground up, making sure we were open for truly innovative ideas. We decided that the car we wanted must be electric, and it should be made of extremely light and super strong carbon fiber. And finally, we decided to make it more intelligent and added our promise of incomparable driving pleasure. We made all these decisions to offer you a choice. The all-electric BMW i3.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Now, if you're not yet one of the over 50,000 people who've taken the time to subscribe to our podcast, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, we certainly do make it simple. All you have to do is go on out to the iTunes store, because we are free. You can find us at the Apple Podcast family. You can find us the same thing over at Google Play, because we're part of the Google Podcast family. You can find us on Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, as well as TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, to name a few. Now, you can also, if you can't seem to find us, go out to the old Google machine, type in Stream On with Jim Williams, hit the favorite button or the subscribe button. Each week, we're going to get a brand new edition of the show sent directly to your phone, your tablet, or to both, okay? Now, if you happen to have an assistant device, well, that's simple too. Let's say you have an Apple device, which answers, of course, to Siri, or Google, or Alexa. All you have to do is say, hey, Alexa, or Google, or Siri, please play the latest edition of Stream On with Jim Williams, and guess what? They'll do it for you, okay? So, folks, we can't make it any simpler. Please go out and subscribe to our podcast today, all right? Okay. Now, speaking of subscriptions, if you are someone who has access to Apple News, well, then we hope that you're reading our column, Stream On with Jim Williams, which is part of the Apple News family, and it's free. All you have to do is go and type in your phone, Stream On with Jim Williams, and guess what? You'll find out that we produce 4 columns a week. That's 4 columns a week on television and streaming, but not just what's going on in the United States. We cover Canada, we cover the UK, we cover Australia, and we cover New Zealand, okay? So if you happen to be listening to us in one of those countries, and we know we have folks throughout the world who do listen, we're very appreciative of that, check out Stream On the column, which can be found as part of the Apple News family, okay? So check that one out today on Apple News on either your iPhone or your iPad, okay? So that would be great if you could do that. Meanwhile, since we're saying thanks to folks, we would certainly like to thank Kelly Macdonald and, of course, Paul Sheehan for joining us today as our guests, talking about The Victim. All the information on The Victim is in our show box below. It's an outstanding 4-part miniseries, a BritBox original. By all means, check out The Victim. It is very, very intense and very well done. Highly recommend The Victim on BritBox. All the information, as I said, in the show box below. Now, next time on this edition of Stream On, what we're going to do is we're going to have an opportunity to talk to Doc Martin himself. That's right, Martin Clumes. Friend of the podcast, Martin Clumes, will join us next time right here on Stream On. So we hope that you get a chance to check that one out. So for the entire gang here at Stream On, I'm Jim Williams, thanking you for joining us today. And be sure to catch up with us next week as we talk to Martin Clumes about Series 9 of Doc Martin. Until that time, folks, have a wonderful and safe week.